Hi, I'm Kiwi,
And I'm Jarad.
and we are the two gentlemen coming to you in the peak of summer. Jarad, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. We're back on Zoom.
Yes, we are. Yeah, I couldn't get out to your place today and off to work this afternoon, so it'd be a bit tight otherwise. But
Yeah. That happens. It's life, and we can do this now. And I mean, obviously, you know, pre all pre Zoom, we would have been struggling, but now it's all good. So we can record and bring you a show, which is awesome. But I am liking the fact that you're doing this topless. Thank you.
thank you, Jarad.
Feel like I'm, on Bondi Rescue here. I can just see the traps. Like thank you for flexing.
Yeah, just so you know, I'm also bottomless, Jarad.
Oh, good. No, well, that's I was that isn't that every time. All good, all good. Mate, I've been like I said, I've been good. I actually, my youngest said to me, "Dad, can you grow your hair?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I can." I found out I can't. My beard grows well, but yeah, I just I finally realised I'm not gifted with or whatever. Not I haven't got the hair follicles to grow anymol.
I was hoping you'd go for the Hulk Hogan look.
Yeah, well, that's a commitment, isn't it? Yeah. Well, that was probably where I would end up, So yeah. But anyway, no, all good, all good. We are funny times, Girls have finished school, so we're on holidays. So yeah, but this episode is, we're releasing this as New Year breaks. So I'd like to ask you a question, if that's all right. I'd like to put it out there. What do you think of New Year's resolutions? Do you have any, or do you subscribe to making New Year's resolutions?
I've never had one myself. I get the idea of it. I think it's a really good thing that people are consciously aware of things that they want to work on. But for me, I'm just one of those really easily excited people. It's like I hear a good idea, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I just start straight away. Yeah. What about you?
You know what? I think I had one about 4 years ago. I never really subscribed to them, never really did them. But I heard somebody say that they did it, and I copied them. And it was not to have anything that comes out of a drive-through. So McDonald's, KFC, Red Rooster, any takeaway like that. And I've stuck to it for 4 years. So I did it for 3 months, and I was like, this is the hardest thing in my life. Like, I can't do this. Like driving past like a McDonald's in the morning, and you think, man, I could smash, the bacon egg muffin or whatever. But yeah, after the 3 months, the mouth stopped watering as you drove past, and yeah. So I got to 3 months, and I went, all right, well, I might as well, because I originally said I'm going to do it for 3 months, and then I thought, I might as well do it for 6 months, and then I might as well do it for a year, and now literally, like, I'm like, I don't want to break this at all. So yeah, I haven't had anything with a drive-through for 4 years, so it's pretty cool. Once you get past that hump.
That's amazing discipline, Jarad.
Well, yeah, I'm too stubborn. So discipline, the 3 months was discipline, but after 3 months, it was like, well, I don't really need it anymore, and I don't want to break it. I don't want to start this 3 months again. So I did 6 months, and I was like, well, I might as well do a year, because you do all the foundation, all the marks, and then once you did a year, you're like, well, I'm not going back on this at all. So yeah, that was it's good, because it makes makes your family a bit healthier and things like that as well. So you don't just divert straight to, don't want to cook, let's get Macca's or something like that. The girls still have McDonald's, but yeah, we don't have it in excess, and I don't have it at all, which is good.
So you're not even allowed to go into those restaurants?
Well, okay, so I can get a drink from them.
Yeah,
I can get
that's fine.
I can get a coffee. I can get, if I want to get a
20-piece bucket,
0 or something. But yeah, I can get something like that. But as far as anything else, no. So I can go into them. But.
Yeah, that's really incredible. It's even harder if you do go into them and smell that finger licking goodness.
Well, yeah, actually, KFC is my I probably don't go into KFC or near KFC, because that's probably my weakness. Like the other ones, they just smell a bit weird, but KFC smells good.
Wow, good on
Yeah,
you, Jared.
so
And did
that's
you
my
actually?
one. That's yeah. So yeah, I have subscribed once to New Year's resolutions, and it's an interesting sort of topic because I don't know. Like people tend to, I don't know. Do you think it's more of a people do it for a little while, then it fades away? And I don't want to say the word fail, but I suppose fail. Do you think that's something that happens a lot?
Look, I've never actually checked up on it, so I don't have any actual proper data, but I'm going to say, yeah, my
Yeah,
non-expert opinion is that most people would kind of get away from it. It's one of those things where, you get excited about doing something. You'll hear about a challenge, you go, I'm going to do that. And if it's anything longer than 3 days, it is really hard to sustain for anybody, even if it's something really good for you, even if it's something really fun.
I've heard the old thing of like it takes 21 days to break a habit. And,
Yeah.
you know, is it 3 to get back into it or something? And you think if somebody does a New Year's resolution to stop smoking, for example, and that gets them to the end of January, let's just say,
Yeah.
and they've broken the habit, and so that's a long January. um, and that would be for anything, like, yeah, like I said, not eating fast food or not, usually it's to stop doing something that's not good for you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that'd be a long January, and it's a big commitment, and especially a lot of it may be alcohol fueled. You're with your friends, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna not smoke, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do this or whatever. And yeah, when you wake up and have your regrets in the morning and your hangover, first thing you want to do is probably go to KFC. I don't
Yeah.
know.
That oil
Yeah.
helps with a hangover. I don't know. But look,
Yeah.
I think it's very hard to give something up if you're not replacing it with something else. Especially if it's something that forms a foundation in your life. For example, fast food. It plays a role. It's not just to feed you, it's to fill the gap of time. You don't have the time to cook, for instance, or you're rushing off to work, or you're on holidays driving up the freeway. It fills that need. So to replace that requires a lot of planning, really. So there's a lot to it. And that's why anyone out there who's, quote unquote, failed at one of these New Year's resolutions or any sort of change in your life, it's quite often because we haven't set up the entire infrastructure around it to support this new habit.
I have to agree with that. When like I would, well, all my jobs have involved being on the road and early in the morning. So my mornings are really quick. I'm in and out. I'm out of the house.
Yep.
And there was a point there where I wasn't having breakfast at home. So the next best thing is stopping while you're on the road. It's convenient,
Yeah.
and that's if you haven't set up the infrastructure that, hey, I need to make sure I have my breakfast here at home, then you will go back to that, and you will go, oh man, I'm literally hungry. I have to eat something. Or
Yeah.
again, it's filling time. It's like, well, I'll grab that while I'm driving to work, or that half an hour drive to work is now filled with half of that I'm stuffing my face.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's a mindset. It's not necessarily hunger. It's more psychological. So yeah, very interesting.
And for you to have met that need, it might have taken the night before, you'd have to take 15 minutes out of your night to make a, breakfast burrito or something for you to bring along. So there's that. You've got to remember to make something the night before, or in the morning, you've got to get up 15 minutes earlier to prepare something to take on the road with you. So that's a whole new thing as well. And that's a whole new habit you still have to learn. So, yeah, like I don't think we should be so hard on ourselves. I think we just need to plan things better. That's all. And think about, okay, what does this really mean? For example, giving up sugar. I haven't tried it, but I imagine it would be really hard for me to give up sugar just because, it's in everything.
I think it would be like, I'd like to think that I'm sugar free, but you're not. Like, no matter what like I would probably say 75%, because I'll make a conscious effort not to have sugar that I know it is. But like you said, unless you actually read everything and know everything, then, and counting, shopping can take 3 hours. That's adding that to your day. You're busy enough as it is. So.
Exactly. You're adding it to your day. Plus, it could be more expensive. That's another thing. And then you've got to get your partner on board and make sure that they're also committed to it, because it's very hard.
Yeah, and it is a drug of some sort. So,
well, it is. It's pretty addictive, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You see people come down when they don't have sugar. It's don't want to be in the same room, I think.
Well, look, as New
But
Year's is approaching, and I think this episode's going out on January the 3rd, is there anything that right now that you'd want to go, okay, you know what, I could get rid of that in my life, or I could add this. This would enhance me. This would make a better Jarad. Is there anything that comes to mind?
for me, look, it's again, it's probably on the same sort of wavelength of the fast food, but for me, like, and it's more of a money thing. Like, not that I'm counting pennies, but the whole, you know, like, you don't realize how much money I spend on coffee. Like,
Yeah, okay.
you spend $5 a go, and you know it's not unheard of to have two that you buy a day. So you know that's during the work hours, the work days, and then so you know that's $50. You know, you throw in the weekends. You know, you're up around the $60-$70 worth of coffee a week, and you think, well, that's just throwaways. You know, and you know, speaking of throwaways, that's, you know, that's stuff that goes in the landfill, all this sort of stuff. So for me, I'll replace that, because I literally leave the house and I find the closest coffee shop. I'm like, well, why can't I just make a coffee at home and drive, you know, and, you know, like that sort of thing. Like, so just changing those little habits. It's not a big one, but again, it's putting that infrastructure there that, you know, I got to turn the coffee machine on and, you know, have my favorite cup because I'm a creature of habit, all that sort of stuff. So I don't know, just something like that. But nothing too major. We're going through some tough times as it is with the world. So it's a little bit of a tweak. But what about yourself? You haven't really subscribed in the past, but are you interested in doing something this year?
Yeah, always. I'm always interested in learning something or fixing something with myself. I just want to quickly say, though, that Erica found a coffee machine in the council pickup, and it was in perfect working order. And it's really nice and compact, and it saved her a lot of money, actually, because she was going out getting coffees, and now she doesn't need to. She gets a bag of really, really good quality coffee from a local cafe, and that she loves. And she makes something called bulletproof coffee, which is with blended butter. And it's like a meal, actually. Yeah, but I don't know anything about it. But look it up. Apparently, it's got a lot of health benefits. It's not my sort of thing. I don't have dairy, but you know, she loves it, and it does a lot for her. But in terms of my growth, my gym membership expired last January, so it's been a while since I've been to the gym. I've got rings here at home dangling that I haven't used at all. I haven't done a chin up for about 6 months.
So they're an internal sort of design thing.
But, you know, in terms of infrastructure, the great thing about having a gym membership is that you kind of have to go. Whereas when you're at home to work out, there's a lot of other things to do other than work out. So for me, it's a real mindset shift that I need to make. I haven't had anything catastrophic happen. Like, I'm still fit enough to live my life. Whereas if I notice, oh, wow, I'm not even strong enough to, you know, lift my groceries, then it would give me a real incentive to work out again. So I started surfing again this last week, which was fantastic. I went for a surf yesterday at Freshwater, really small. So it's perfect for me getting back into it. And, you know, I noticed I was fatiguing pretty early. My arms were getting really tired. So it's like, okay, well, this is a good wake up call. I need to really get fit again. So for me, it's just about exercise. I just need to get back to my optimal strength. And I'm 41 now, and I kind of wrote myself off. I was like, oh, I'll just get a longboard. You know, I'm too old to paddle. But now I'm like, hang on a second. I'm not that old.
There's 20 guys 20 years older than you just paddling past you. You're like, to be honest, you know, I'm only making an excuse here. Yeah,
exactly. That's all it was, just excuses. So, I've kind of given myself a kick up the bum, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can just get fit again. And that's my main thing, fitness.
Yeah, but again, you're that's something that you just sort of make your mind up. You don't need like a date to tell you. Like, I need the 31st of January to go, okay, tomorrow I'm doing it, you know? Like, that's another interesting point, you know, like how people go, oh, I'll start my diet on Monday, you know, and then you got the other people that were like, oh, I'm going to start my exercise regime now. Like, and it doesn't matter that it's Tuesday, but, you know, it's an interesting sort of like mindset that, do you think that the people that want to start it and they start it right on the spot are more likely to, you know, succeed at what they're doing than the people that go, oh, in 5 days I'm going to start, you know, like, I don't know. I've been in contact with people both, and I've been both those people, you know, like it's a weird one. And I think I've probably failed on the ones that I, you know, go and say, oh, I'll do it in 4 days. You know,
Okay.
I'll eat rubbish for 4 days and then I'll start my diet, or I'll start my exercise regime, or I'll start walking. And I tend to not, because my, my excitement for it, or whatever you want to call it, my adrenaline's pumping right now. But why wait for 4 days? You know, because it's like the calendar. You're working off the calendar. It's a weird sort of weird thing.
I think we need these anchors in life. I think we just need to know exactly where we are at any given time. And that's why we invented the calendar. You know, we're floating in space. We just needed to know, well, whereabouts are we at this particular moment? And it's the same with any moment in your own life. So just to know, okay, well, look, I can be this person up until this point helps a lot. And I think a lot of people just need to mentally prepare as well, because I remember in the Tough Day at the Office episode, you said that there's this bridge near your place, and when you cross that bridge, you can kind of leave the day behind. And I kind of feel it's the same for whether it's a Monday or the first day of the new year. You know, it's kind of this psychological demarcation. You can just go, okay, I've crossed that line. Let's move on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's like it's a marker. It certainly helps your psyche. So yeah, look, it's jury's out as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I don't know. It's I don't really, like you said, I do have that marker there when I come home, but it's interesting. Like I tend to, for me personally, when I'm keen, is the time to start.
Yeah, that's a great attitude.
But like you said, you like we said earlier, we have to have that kind of that plan, that infrastructure in place. Like if you just throw your hands in the air and go, okay, I'm not eating sugar, and throw every bit of sugar out in your house, then you're like, oh, what am I going to eat for dinner?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have to go to Macca's.
Yeah. But if you give yourself that time to plan and to motivate yourself and to talk to other people, because, it's not us anymore. I don't live as this solitary man. I've got a family. So I need to talk to everyone else. Hey, Erica, we can't have, this anymore because, well, I can't have this anymore. So, if you're going to cook this, can you just let me know? And all that sort of communication needs to take place as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because you're not, you're not yourself anymore. We're not selfish people. So, for me and you, everyone comes first. So, it's there's definitely an approval you've got to seek from everyone.
Well, just a lot of things to consider to put in place together. And I work with people with disabilities, and we come up with plans for people, sorry. And there's a lot of things that need to be communicated. We have to send emails around. We have to type these formal plans up to let everyone know what's going on. When this happens, do this, for example. It's really important to get all that in place.
So it's the same foundations for at home, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The other thing about New Year's resolutions is there's certain occasions in a year or at any particular time that gets you thinking about things. It funnels your thoughts towards something. And for example, Christmas, it's, gets you thinking about family, gets you thinking about catching up with friends. And this is the same for everybody pretty much in Australia, that we're thinking, oh, wow, we're heading towards the 25th. So we've got to, have our work Christmas party, got to have our friends' Christmas party, you've got to catch up with these people before the end of the year, even though you've had all year to do it and you didn't see any of them. We've had a WhatsApp group with a few of our old school friends, and it's like, oh, can we meet on this date or that date? And it's like, we could have done this at any time, but we didn't.
It didn't have to be December or January when we're super busy. But...
Yeah, exactly. When everybody's doing the same thing. Yeah. And then, same with New Year's. We were all thinking about a new beginning, a new thing, a new, have to buy a whole new calendar. So it's a cultural thing as well, that we're all on the same page, quite literally, with a new page of the calendar. So let's move forward. Yeah,
I agree with that. That's, the fact that, it's all around us, and it's, like I said, you're physically going out, it's ingrained in us. You're physically going out to buy that calendar, and everyone's opening page at the same time. It's, we're all kind of programmed a little bit, aren't we? Well, so, realistically, we, like you said, we're trying to plan, a time for us to catch up as friends. And I was the one who put it out, like, let's do it over Christmas and New Year's. But like I said, we can do it any time. And, as someone who, like everyone else has been through what we've been through the last couple of years, the plan is that we do this sort of stuff more. We don't have to have it at the time where everyone's busy. What's wrong with May? What's wrong with April? The weather's more pleasant. It's better than sitting around sweltering in the backyard here.
Yeah.
But that's a positive for me. Not being able to get a date is actually, I'm looking at it positively and going, well, let's do this. Let's do this in March, April, May, whatever. Like, we don't have to do this and cram it into a Tuesday night, 2 days before Christmas, or and where we're all kind of not agitated, but we're all kind of on edge because we're like, oh, we have to be here tomorrow and there, and we have to drive here. I've just got back from holidays and I'm, I've got to fit in a day of work somewhere and, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, actually the negative of not being able to find a date is actually a positive, and I guess that is something that, like changing my mindset, that, oh, well, it didn't happen doesn't mean it's not going to happen ever.
Yeah.
I mean, we can plan it in a time where we can all do something together.
That's a great way to look at it, Jarad. And, what a life you've got, that you've got too many friends and you've got too many things to do. Yeah, that's lovely, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah.
Good on you.
I'll put you down the list of friends. You're the April friends.
Yeah.
Come on, mate.
This kind of goes back to what I learnt when we started the podcast together, is that at this age, you need an quote unquote excuse to see people. And, Christmas becomes that excuse. New Year's becomes that excuse. Australia Day becomes that excuse.
Yeah.
Not so much Easter, but, you move on. And we talked about State of Origin. When I came to your backyard and saw your setup, I was like, oh, we're watching State of Origin here next year. And you're like, oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But again, it's an excuse, isn't it? We could watch this. There's 26 rounds of football. We could have, we could plan any of those weeks, but there's always this occasion. And I guess that's the great thing about, having these special events, that, it does bring people together.
It does. And it's, it doesn't mean that I won't be, doing State of Origin here or won't be doing, something, but yeah, definitely it's something that, I believe we're all sort of got to shift a little bit to recognize there. Like you said, we don't need an excuse to, and again, we're repeating ourselves, but we don't need an excuse to catch up, because sometimes those the last couple of years, those excuses where we usually catch up have been taken away from us because of lockdowns and things like that. And look at the stress and the fact that, I normally have a beer with my mate at State of Origin, or I normally go to the pub, or I normally go out to dinner and watch the new release of Batman or whatever, like every time. But we haven't been able to do that. I haven't been able to. I haven't been able to go to my nerd shows, as I said, with my mate, and walk around looking at old, at toys and antiques and all sorts of stuff, So that has an effect, and that has a build-up effect on everybody. So, my advice and my thought is, we all should look at this year positively and just, let's just make. Oh, we're both not working. That's the excuse, or we're both able to. We're both able to meet up, or there's a few people able to meet up. Let's do it. It doesn't have to be State of Origin.
Yeah,
that's rugby league for anyone who's wondering what State of Origin is. But but it doesn't have to be a football game, or it doesn't have to be a public holiday and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And by the same token, we don't need any excuses to change either. If you want to grow, if you've got something that you want to do, just do it. You don't need to wait for an event either. You don't have to wait for State of Origin to become fit.
Yeah. I've got to be able to fit into my Origin jersey that they make player cut. Like, who wears a player cut? They're so tight. I have to buy like a 10XL. Still tight.
Well, Jarad, as soon as we finish here, I'm going to start my workout because this has motivated me. And that's another thing, something we haven't touched on with the whole New Year's resolution thing is how important it is to have other people keeping an eye on us and supporting us.
Yeah.
People pay for that sort of service.
Yeah. Personal trainers, people spot each other in the gym. They have gym buddies. Like, this is just exercise, but yeah, like that's very important, because I know if I go to the gym or do anything, like I don't succeed very well because I'm on my own. Like, and that's obviously something that I need to work on, but yeah, I've always thrived in a team environment. So having people around, whether it be 1, 2, or 10, pushes me to do what I need to do.
Yep, definitely. And my memories of you in preseason training, Jarad, were that even in a team environment, you weren't doing much, mate.
No, it was always tough. Yeah, I needed a little bit of help.
But on the field, you were fine. So I guess it didn't matter.
I was bored.
Just walking around doing laps.
Yeah. I got to start somewhere, and walking's the point.
But you think about something like Alcoholics Anonymous. You get a sponsor, you get someone to talk to about it. So it makes a lot of sense that, you'd use a buddy in real life to get through something as simple as, I need to, I'm giving up sugar, for example. And you've got a friend who's gone through the exact same thing, who's gone through withdrawals, who's, replanned their entire lives, replanned their entire shopping just to get through that, to meet that one goal. So, yeah, I think anyone out there who's looking at changing something about themselves, consider getting a buddy who's been through the same thing and who can mentor you through it.
Buddies and groups. I mean, look, there's no shortage of, especially on your social medias, Facebooks and things like that. Like, there's challenges and things like that you can do for your health, that like 6-week challenges, 8-week challenges, and then you create a group and people post things about themselves and what they're doing, and then you're like, oh wow, they're the same as me, or they've got 4 kids and I've got 2. How come they can still do it? I'll make an excuse that the kids are in the way or whatever, and these people have got 4 or 5 kids and they're still doing chin-ups and stuff. So if it's that sort of motivation you need, jump into don't be shy to get a buddy or be part of a group. If that helps you, then that's a bonus, really, isn't it? It's for you. It's your health.
Yeah. Never be shy to ask for help, I guess, is what we're trying to say.
No. And it comes in different ways, like some people don't like to ask for help, but like I said, being part of that group and just not even being a silent member, just watching people, post things and say, oh, wow, that person can now do 100 push-ups. I better work myself to do that. Or that person just cooked an amazing, 7 days worth of food on a Sunday. Or maybe I should try that, like when, just, you don't have to communicate how you're going. You just can just watch if that's what you prefer.
Yeah. And the truth is, it takes a lot of mental energy to change. That's the other thing that we don't often consider. You've got a certain number of thoughts that you can spend in a day. Let's just say you're up for 16 hours a day. You're thinking about work for this portion, kids for this portion. You're on autopilot for the rest of it. You're thinking about this TV show you watched or whatever. To change means you're dedicating thoughts as well to a whole new project. It's a whole new way of thinking. And
that's tiring.
Yeah, exactly.
Change, like once you to turn that wheel is tiring, because especially I am a creature of habit personally, and and that's something that a lot of people battle with. It's like, oh, we just keep doing the same, and you end up 5 years later still doing the same, and you wonder why. But it's all a matter of being able to turn that wheel when you can.
Yeah, exactly. I feel that talking to you, Jarad, doing this podcast with you, it's really motivated me. And when we don't do the podcast, it's like, well, I'm not thinking about, my growth as much. Yeah. That's the thing. Whereas this really makes me conscious of growth. And hopefully for our listeners, with us 2 41-year-old men who, I checked out first for my surfing. I was like, oh no, I'm done. I can't get any, better than this, or I'm too unfit.
I think you said that in a previous episode.
Yeah, I did. But now I'm like,
conquered it.
Yeah, but now I'm like, well, look, I'm not that old really. So I could, I could still, surf the board that I've got. I don't have to buy a whole new board. So look, I'm motivated, everyone. And I've got a really good friend, Hannah, who I've talked about on this podcast before. She's a young surfer. I always check in with her after a surf. So, I've got her motivating me as well. So it's good to have a buddy.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad you're motivated. I too will make a coffee at home, and instead of buying one. But it's always good to see someone, excited and trying new old things, or trying something again, picking up the surfboard again. Because really, what are we going to do? The surfboard is going to sit in your garage and
just buy a whole new one.
And then you'll be like, oh, I used to be able to do that.
Exactly. Yeah. But look, with you, Jarad, with your coffee habit, now you've got to think about what kind of coffee you're going to buy. Have you got a favorite store coffee, or are you going to get one from a cafe that's, pre-ground for you? There's a whole lot of steps that you need to make sure that you've covered, and then you can do it.
I can join a coffee club.
Do it.
Might help me.
Do it.
Awesome.
Jarad, pleasure as always. Happy New Year, buddy.
Happy New Year. See ya.